Hi everyone, it's Kathleen. We are here today so I can share with you how I have progressed on my snippet cloth. I started off in my last video by sharing how I create individual snippets of prized, vintage, precious pieces into small little snippet bits, and then I embroider on them or stitch on them, and then I have attached them to my linen table runner and to create a snippet cloth. Now I wanted to decorate it with stitch. I wanted the edge of my runner filled with a sampling of stitches that I could refer to in the future if I ever wanted to come up with some edging stitches on my project. So I decided to, well, what colors of thread am I going to use? I'm using ecru, a light peach, because that's what I have in here, and then I wanted a variegated, and this is the only variegated orange I had. It's a Sue Spargo Easy M88. Various shades of peaches and oranges, which is very pretty. So I started off on the bottom left corner, and I've done the same on the top right corner. And then as I worked, I went from dark, medium, light, and then I repeated that pattern up at the top right hand corner. So let's have a close look at the stitches I have done to see. So I started off, and this is going to be a sampler. So I want this to be a sampler piece for me. So I have done I said a wrong thing. This is stem stitch in the variegated, and still with the variegated, I just done little hash lines and little X's, 3 X's. Then I switched to my lighter color thread, and I'm working inside these little holes of the linen pieces right in here. It has a hem along here. So I'm working in the hem, but as I go, I attach my threads on the double layer of fabric so we don't see it on the front, and then I work in a little section. So in this case, this is going to be my sampler of edging stitches. I've just done some straight stitches and some French knots, and then I did the same thing on the top, on the vertical and the horizontal. Then I chose my ecru color, and I have done running stitch and loose French knots, and I've done the same thing up here. So now I'm just gonna, you'll know that when I have a piece, when I go from dark to medium to light, medium, dark, and I alternate those, and the stitches change. So that's one section, and that's another. Then I chose the peach again. I'm going darker. Some dashes, some X's, dashes, and French knots in a little section. Then I have 2 large dashes, a flower petal, a French knot. When I say flower petal, that's a chain stitch, and 2 dashes. So that makes a beautiful edging stitch. I wanted the edgings to stand out, and it flows because it goes from dark, medium, light, medium, dark. Back to the peach. Staggering 5 French knots, an outline stitch through the holes, and then a running stitch on top of the stem stitch. within the snippet area. Then I've done chain stitches, and I have done the blanket stitch on 1/2 of the chains in the 3, and I left the other 2 empty. Then I repeated my corner of the stem stitch, a couple slat stitches, a couple X's, and this is the same pattern that I have. Is it the same pattern? Nope, I'm adding some more. So these are another set of pattern, another variation of another sample of an outline stitch, couple straight stitches, 3 French knots, a slat and an X. Then I did the blanket stitch and variegated. The outline stitch and some French knots. And you see how nicely it looks when it is going from the dark to the medium. I'm changing my colors of thread. Variegated, peach, and the ecru. So here I have done some straight stitches, some pistol stitches, running stitch X's, pistol X's, straight stitch I mean. And then I go back to the peach, and here I'm just doing some straight stitches but on the vertical, and some slanty pieces, and some like satin close together, then staggered, then close together, and it's variegated. And I picked up my variegated thread, and I've made just some running stitches, running with cross hatches, French knots, made a little pattern, and I'm going to repeat that pattern again on the outline. Another peach. So look at how beautiful this edging sample of stitches looks all the way around the snippet piece. My buttons I needed to secure on because they were part of a wedding dress cuff, so I went with a stem stitch, and then I switched to buttonhole stitch, and every time I got to a button, I locked it in place with a stitch, and I did that for the length of that piece because this was loose, so I wanted to tack it down. And I just did some back stitches, changing it up in the peach. That beautiful variegated stitch, straight stitches, the ivory, outline stitch, pistol, back stitches, crosses, more pistol, change up the threads, stem stitch and French knots, blanket stitch with the variegated, changing up the stitches, changing up the colors, gives you such eye candy to look at as you progress along the edge of your runner or your art piece, any fabric piece, page, what have you. And sticking in the same color palette, ecru, light peach, and a darker peach. Just look at that, is so beautiful. Straight stitches, French knots, straight stitches, cross stitches, and another dash. Loose French knots. By changing the color and variegating, using variegated threads, the stitches are just so gorgeous. So this is a beautiful sampler edging using 3 colors of thread, outlining my snippet cloth. I have one little piece to do here. I made a mistake, but I'm going to leave it. I could not get that knot out. It was supposed to be a crosshatch there, and I got a knot, so I added another little loop, so it's a happy accident. And I keep going. So let's give you a visual of this. Let's start at the bottom piece. The front of my piece is with these 3 rectangles, so I'm just going to let you look at this. Look at how the color, I don't know if you can see the color. I'm looking through the camera and it's a little bit difficult to see, so I'm just going to pull my piece through, just adding the subtle color of edging, and edging, it frames your piece. So all of these very precious pieces that I have are in one spot on this snippet cloth. So I'm sharing with you the outline. Oh, I didn't finish this piece. I might just leave this actually to show myself that, oh yes, it was like this, because I ran out of ideas. I did all the way around, and then I did this all day from 9 in the morning. It's now 4 p.m., so I've been stitching all day here in bed. And so the edging pieces, I just wanted to show you the sampler edging that I have done to this snippet cloth. There we are. Just love how that turned out. So that's all I wanted to share with you, creating a sampler edge on my snippet cloth for me to refer to on future stitching pieces. And I will be leaving this one as a reminder for myself what the piece used to look like. So tomorrow I will be working on filling stitches. I want to try this is a mending stitch, so I want to try the woven stitch, but I want to try it when I fill up these areas. I would like to start with the ecru. So the ecru will be starting on the fabric pieces, whether it's a seed stitch or whatever I decide to do. Then I'll add some of the peach, and then a very small little line of the dark variegated. So the dark variegated will be like a flowing river in between the pieces that I have stitched together. Very, very thin little piece. So the first job tomorrow is to pick a stitch in a small area and start with the ecru on the snippets. Peach will go on the linen, and then blending it in with the variegated. So thank you everyone for watching, and when my piece will be finished, it will be totally encrusted with stitch. Stitches on stitches on stitches. Thank you everyone for watching my videos and leaving comments. They mean so much to me. The secret of bullion knots is using a rayon thread, because it is slinky and it just slides through the needle like butter. I'll demo that one day. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye for now.